So we've had some instances in the past where we've seen, differences in the schedule. Some things get shifted around, whether or not there's outside forces. Shueisha, Toei, the IP holders of Dragon Ball, have some influence in how the game is ran, whether or not they can cover certain topics. Can they do stuff from superhero? Do we have to make the games wait before they can do stuff? Daima stuff is new. What do we do with that? There's a lot of uncertainty when it comes down to how things are handled amongst the companies that deliver Dragon Ball content in the form of media and games to consumers. And that in turn, of course, has a lot of different repercussions on scheduling. And again, like I said, we have seen variations in the schedule in Dragon Ball Legends in the past. And I have provided multiple different scenarios. Okay, maybe the schedule's off because of A. Maybe the schedule's off because of B. And I think I've been relatively, I don't want to say forgiving, because it's not like I'm forgiving them for being weird with the schedule, but it's like I think I've been relatively accepting when it comes to the schedule just not really being consistent or being strange or being weird. And I actually this year have started doing those videos where at the beginning of every single month, I've been looking at the month and looking at the past year and seeing how I think the month will play out schedule-wise. Because typically, all the way through the end of 2024, this game essentially has been very predictable, and they've pretty much stuck to a format that works, a scheduling system that works, and they've really not deviated much from that since they've established that. Usually I say back in 2021 is when they really settled on like a consistent schedule that really hasn't shifted or changed much over the course of the past few years. This year has been completely just very crazy and weird and strange, and I'm gonna just call it an anomaly, and I have no clue what's going on. I give a lot of, I don't want to call it cope, because it's not really cope. It's just me trying to explain why I think things are happening the way that they're happening. I no longer have any kind of explanation as to why the schedule is so strange and weird this year. So we had this sale drop. The release of Ultra Cell was, again, a very strange first week of the month release for an Ultra character. Never seen that before in the history of the game. Okay, we're almost 7 years in. And at the same time, they dropped the sales, and I actually pointed this out. I think it was on Twitter. I made a post about this. The sales are only up for a week. These sales are only up for, actually, they go until the 13th at 3 p.m., which doesn't really make a lot of sense, because if we take a look, I tried looking for this. I could not find the actual post here. But the same exact sales were up for Ultra Majin Vegeta at the end of October, right? The last character released before Legends Fest. And his sales were up for 2 weeks. And that is almost always how they deliver these sales to us. It's not just 1 week only, because it's, they want to give people enough time to be able to, potentially buy all the sales. That's why they do it like this. But very oddly enough, these sales are only scheduled to be up for, 8 days? So I looked at this and I was like, okay, I think there's a decent chance we actually could be getting something this coming week. And the reason why that kind of made sense to me at the time is because this is the normal time where we would expect to see a major character release, right? March. So this coming reset tomorrow is March 12th. That lines up with last year's release of LF Super Baby 2. And then we got Golden Freeze at the end of the month, because typically we have 2 major releases per month. But again, they're releasing and timing of the Cell banner. First week of March kind of throws everything off. First of all, it made February almost completely dead. February was a terrible, terrible, awful month. But now March kind of has to play catch up a little bit here. Like, they're not going to not release a banner at the end of the month too. So we're going to have 3 releases here. I've seen, over the course of my time playing this game, one of the complaints I see pretty consistently from people is a lot of times they feel like they're pretty congested in terms of the amount of banners that are dropping within rapid succession of each other. And if they, they essentially artificially delayed the release of Ultra Cell to the first week of this month. Well, guess what? Now next week we're getting another banner. I guess this week we're getting another banner. So we have a news post here, Legends information, then we have some maintenance. So if we take a look at the maintenance here, this is typical weekly reset maintenance. The only thing that is undergoing maintenance is Tournament of Power. Okay, Tournament of Power is the only mode undergoing maintenance. We don't have shot maintenance. We don't have summon maintenance. We don't have PvP. I mean, PvP maintenance makes sense because PvP season goes until next week. So this is the only thing undergoing maintenance. But then we have a separate post here. We do have an announcement for a Legends information here. Legends information premieres on the 13th. The 13th. Legends information will premiere on March 13th at 11 p.m. my time. That is a Thursday night. Thursday. We've never seen this. Thursday night. This time we're bringing you info on upcoming events. Of course, there will be Zenkai Awakening and new character info too. Be sure to watch it live and get all the latest news. Interesting that they mentioned Zenkai Awakening. I don't think they've ever said that before. But yeah, this is just a very strange time. They decided to drop this on Thursday? So what is the banner dropping on Friday? That doesn't make sense. I mean, they have released banners at odd times in the past, but that typically either A, lines up with the end of the month, right? So for example, they did delay some of the end of month releases to line up with the final day of the month instead of typically releasing on Wednesday at reset time. So that's when they've done that before. And then B, major celebrations, right? Well, like the anniversary usually comes out on and starts and drops on a Saturday. But for like a middle of the, this is like them delaying the release of LF Super Baby 2 by 2 days for no reason. That's essentially what this is like. So we have a Legends information on Thursday at 11 p.m. my time, which should be the clocks just changed in the US, right? So this would be, I believe, 10 a.m. on Thursday is when this broadcasts to people in Eastern time. Eastern time, 10 a.m. on Thursday morning. Just a very strange, I mean, you just look at different ways that everything has just been handled. Really starting with, okay, it really started in the beginning of February. I wouldn't really call January mishandled. January was kind of a standard, typical month. I wouldn't really think there was much wrong with January. I mean, I guess unless you want to call 2 LF Zenkais in the same day, kind of weird. Which they could have spread them out amongst the other Legends Festival releases a little bit better. But February, we're going into February. We had not had a Daima release for about a month and a half, right at that point. And so, everyone's thinking, okay, yeah, we had some pretty cool moments in Daima. This is before the end of Daima. And, when are we getting Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta? When are we getting Super Saiyan 3 Goku? This is right when Super Saiyan 3 Goku premieres in Daima for the first time. And I think everybody was, looking forward to seeing some Daima releases. And then they announced the Cell Saga celebration. But not only did they announce the Cell Saga celebration, they announced it is for a month and a half. A month and a half of the Cell Saga celebration. So at that point, I'm kind of thinking to myself, okay, maybe there's some kind of restriction. They wouldn't do this to themselves if they didn't have to. Obviously, they know at this point that Daima would sell infinitely better than just some random Cell Saga celebration that they could do at any, like they could do Cell Saga at any point. But with the current hype surrounding the newest installment in the Dragon Ball series, this is when you need to capitalize on that. And the only reason that made sense to me at the time is because there was some kind of restriction or some kind of embargo implemented via the IP holders, aka Shueisha / Toei, instructing the games and other forms of media to not yet cover a lot of the Daima things. My theory was that everything post Goku versus Tamagami number 3 was kind of off limits. And once the series ended on that was March 1st. So like the final episode was February 28th, and then it literally Japan time JST, it ended like right as March 1st started, like 12. Usually the episodes end like 12:10 a.m. on March 1st. And then literally, I mean, you could look at this, look at the timing on these announcements. We had Xenoverse 2 announcing Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta right as the episode ended, right as March began. We had multiple different figures be revealed for Daima. We had like the Shikishi art things. They did a thing with Daima. We had a bunch of Ichiban Kuji figures, like the figure arts. There were so many Dragon Ball Daima announcements. Like the instant that March started, that it really kind of was a little bit strange to me, and the only thing that made sense was that there was, again, that's when whatever the restrictions were actually ended. So I thought maybe that might have played into why the schedule got messed up with Legends. But make no mistake, this, whatever this is, releasing on Thursday instead of, you know, typical Tuesday, and then I guess the banner comes out on Friday. I just don't think it's very plausible for some kind of Daima restriction or schedule change to really interfere with the typical release times for whatever this is. And the same goes for Cell, right? They could have very easily just released Cell at the end of March. Like, why did they delay the Cell release? If they had whatever this is, if they had this ready to come out now, why was Cell pushed to March 1st? Or not March 1st, why was Cell pushed to the March 5th release, the first week of March? Why was Cell not just released at the end of February? And why didn't they just release this like tomorrow, normal time? So I don't know, a lot of things that don't make a lot of sense. And at the end of the day, I thought it was due to a lot of scheduling issues because of Daima, but I can't connect the dots with this one. So I am just going to wholeheartedly say they don't know what they're doing with the schedule. That's my conclusion. My conclusion was kind of like a mixed, it was like a 50-50 thing. It's like, okay, maybe they're a little bit, discombobulated on their end with scheduling, but also there's kind of some maybe miscommunication or scheduling issues that got in the way due to restrictions or roadblocks because of the way that Daima was instructed to be handled. But now I'm kind of just like, I think it's just almost 100% on the development team for Legends that they just don't know what they're doing. That's what I'm leaning towards here, because this doesn't make any sense. Maybe we'll find out why this was the case once we actually see the Legends information, and maybe there's something in there that will make us say, okay, this is why they did this, or maybe there's some kind of app update they need to do in order to get whatever they want to show into the game, and that's why it got delayed or whatever. But I don't know. We'll see what this is, but this is very strange. And this kind of makes me a bit nervous moving forward, because it means the schedule is a lot more unpredictable. Which I guess it's not really like, oh my god, it's the end of the world, the schedule is no longer predictable, but I don't know. It becomes harder if the schedule becomes much more unpredictable. It becomes harder to know when to save CC. It becomes harder to know what to summon on, and so everything just becomes more difficult to read and predict. So I don't think I like this sudden change in how they're managing the schedules, but I guess we do have a Legends information reveal on Thursday night at 11 p.m., which is just almost nonsensical here. So, so I've been making these monthly schedule videos, what I think is going to happen in January, what I think is going to happen in February and March. And pretty much since, I don't know if, did I talk about this in January? Maybe I did. I know for sure I'd started talking about this and pushing this heavily in February, that, okay, this is the month of Daima. And then it didn't happen. And then March, this is the month of Daima. So man, if this is not Daima related, at that point it's time for our picket signs and torches and, marching into the headquarters being like, what in blue blazes is going on here? It also, I think it actually does match up pretty well, though, to have a Daima release now, an LF character now, and then one at the end of the month, because it's not going to be like a full dedicated campaign for Daima, but they could start sprinkling in some Daima releases. I don't think that would kill them to do, right? I've been mentioning this for a while. I get people like, oh, well, they're clearly saving Daima for the anniversary. Well, there's not, it's not, okay, there's going to be spoilers, I guess, but at this point, I think it's pretty fair game to talk about this. it's not like they're going to drop Super Saiyan 4 Goku right now. I mean, I don't think they would. If they were saving Daima for Anniversary, there's only like 2 or 3 possibilities that they could really be saving. Meanwhile, there's like, 6, 7, or 8 LF-worthy characters from Daima that we haven't gotten in the game yet. So just because they might be saving Daima for Anniversary doesn't mean they can start giving us other characters that would not be saved for Anniversary right now. Right? Do you think Goma is Anniversary worthy? Probably not. But Goma would be a pretty cool mid-month LF character. Mini Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, I think, is a pretty cool, just LF character. Mini Super Saiyan 3 Goku could be a cool LF character. I don't think adult Super Saiyan 4 full power Goku who does the Kamehameha against Goma and essentially ends the fight is a mid-month LF release. That could be something more akin to Anniversary, right? But just because they might be saving Daima for Anniversary doesn't mean they can't give us other Daima characters while still being LF worthy. Might not be, to the level where it needs to be for Anniversary. That's what we've been talking about this whole time. I'm not saying, okay, yeah, let's get Super Saiyan 4 Goku now, and then we'll get another Super Saiyan 4 Goku for Anniversary, and then we'll get mini Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and then we'll get adult Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. There's literally a million characters and forms from Daima that we could get in the game that they haven't we've gone, what is this? The last Daima release was December. We're halfway through March already. So like, come on. Where's the stuff already? So yeah, it's far past time that they start, getting their Daima shoes on here and giving us the content from Daima that we've been waiting for. So I think that's what we're looking at here. Hopefully it is, but regardless, even if it isn't Daima, we're getting something this week, and I think it's going to be Friday because the announcement's Thursday. So you guys can let me know what you think this is going to be. What do you think of the schedule? How do you think they've been handling it? What are your thoughts on that? And what do you want to see? Let me know. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one.